Talk to me about this contract signing that we just saw with you and Swerve Strickland. I mean, obviously there's so much going on between the two of you, but this feels different from what we saw in the three-way matchup between you, Hangman, and Swerve, and now knowing that this is one-on-one at Dynasty.
You know, it is different, obviously. I mean, Swerve is getting a, you know, unique opportunity for himself, one-on-one against me in this match. But that's about all that's different. You know, how I'm going to handle him, how I'm going to handle this is how I was handling anybody else who kind of stepped up to the plate and tried to challenge me for a championship. And, you know, I'm gonna walk him down and beat him up. And, you know, what I did at that signing is, you know, kind of a small teaser is what to expect when it comes to the match.
You have been able to work with the who's who in professional wrestling throughout your career, but some of the shock factor that we're seeing from somebody like Swerve, I mean, signing the contract in his blood, showing up to people's houses, we've seen you do similar things in your career as well, but where does that stack up for you?
I mean, you know, I think people need to realize why Swerve is signing that contract in blood is because I bloodied him up. You know, people need to understand why Swerve is going to have to go those lengths because I'm going to put him in those situations to see if he can survive them. And, you know, I've seen what he's done. I've seen the extremes that he's gone to. You know, I see a lot of similarities in how we handle situations, but it's because of a reason. Mm-hmm. You know, nobody ever asked me why I do the things that I do. And I'll tell you the big reason is that as I look out and I see the many stars here in AEW, you know, what I notice is they have a tremendous ability to look inward, look at themselves, and nothing else. And it takes these types of things to get them to stop looking at themselves in the mirror and realize there's something more dangerous in the room. And I'm not trying to justify the things that I've done, but you got to understand why I do them.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I guess we'll see more of how that kind of comes together as we lead up to Dynasty and, of course, what happens at Dynasty. But let's talk about, you know, roughly 2 years ago, you showing up at Ring of Honor, making your name known back in Ring of Honor before joining AEW. What was that moment like for you walking back through that curtain?
I mean, obviously, you know, Ring of Honor holds a very special place in my heart to come back to it after all these years and to, you know, help it in its next, you know, iteration to become a champion and represent the brand once again. You know, it was a tremendous honor for me and it means a tremendous amount to me because, you know, Ring of Honor is a place where, you know, I made my mark in the world. Ring of Honor is a place where several very talented grapplers the industry over have made their mark. And I think, you know, it'll go down in the annals of history as one of the most influential, you know, organizations to ever, you know, be in this industry. So to come back and be a part of that, you know, it meant a tremendous amount to me.
You've been in this industry for about 25 years. You, as I said, you've been able to tussle it up with so many of the who's who in this world. What do you want to do? What is left for you to do? I mean, we've got this championship over your shoulder, but what do you want your legacy in this industry to be? You
know, I think it's very much linked to this championship, and I think it's very much linked to, you know, how I carry it and who I defend it against. I mean, these are, you know, no new concepts by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, I think when I set out and I started my career, I wanted to define myself as somebody who could take on anything, any situation, any challenge, overcome it and conquer it. And that became an obsession. And I mean, it's still an obsession to this day. And, you know, as long as I am alive and kicking in an AEW ring, I will be holding this championship. And if I'm not, then I'll be pursuing it. And those always been my goals, and they're pretty simple, and they always will be my goals.
One of the things, I know that Swerve had brought this up recently, but talking about the time when you were on commentary and a time that you had stepped away from being in the ring, was that a point in time when you really thought that you were going to start to go in a different direction?
100%. You know, when you're faced with the uncertainty of you know, medical conditions, especially, you know, things that have to do with the brain, there is no clear diagnosis. There is no, it's going to be 100% okay if you do it this way or that way. It is a recover, wait, and see. And, you know, obviously I'm somebody who likes to, you know, plan ahead, be a little bit prepared for what the future holds. So, yeah, you know, in my mind, there was many times that I thought that maybe that, you know, it was the last time you would see me within a ring. And, you know, after, you know, some great training, some good rehab, and great medical advice and monitoring the situation, I realized that, you know, I had enough to come back, and I did.
Talk to me a little bit more about what that journey was like to be not medically cleared to compete, to getting back to ring condition to where you're at now in AEW to make that move?
It's not a clear path by any stretch of the means. I did a lot of different types of therapies and techniques, oxygen therapies, different types of reactive electronic drills with sensors and buzzers and, things to try to, retrain the brain and get it sharp and mentally acute, and as well as, just physical rehabilitation stuff and improvements in health and how I handle myself. And, it was a combination of things. I can't really point to one or two things that really were the determining factors, and I just knew that we attacked it on all fronts, and, we ended up finding ourselves back in the ring and a world champion.
What other kind of gadgets are you using now? Because I feel like you show me every now and then some of the different things that you're using, some things to kind of stay feeling your best. What are you working with?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of recovery stuff now. We got cold plunges, saunas. All the recovery things you can imagine. I mean, honestly, learning to put a premium on sleep, I think, is probably the greatest thing that anybody could really do, and understanding how you sleep, and if you don't sleep well, ensuring that you do. So, if anything, I think that's the biggest thing.
So all of these things being said, of those moments of sort of uncertainty, not really sure what you were going to do, what your next move was going to be, to the reign that you've been able to have as champion, the impact that you've been able to have here on AEW, what does it mean to you to have that championship over your shoulder at this point in your career?
With no pun intended, I mean, it means the world to me. I mean, to come out and compete, especially in a company AEW with the caliber of talent that we have, to be the world champion here, to hold the highest honor, and to be the standard bearer, something that I very much cherish and enjoy, and it feels right. I mean, there's a reason why I'm here, whether it be through all the preparation, through my own machinations, but one way or another, I'm the champion, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Do you feel like, I feel like I hear these things from conversations that I know that I'm having. Do you feel like you've been given your flowers?
I feel like I'm not concerned with them. I mean, flowers, I feel, are for people who need that validation. I've never needed people's validation.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been validated since I started. I've been kind of a unwanted commodity when it came to many wrestling promotions until I got there. And, I feel it's very much the same here in AEW. I think that the ceiling of where I was, this guy, he's coming off of a lot of inactivity. We'll put him in ROH. He'll do what he does there, do what he does best. And, it'll be a little bit more familiar atmosphere for him than AEW. And, I just, listen, if I get a foot in the door anywhere, I'm going to kick it wide open. I'm going to take things over. Mm-hmm. It was no different anywhere else I've worked. It's no different here in AEW.
I mean, I love when I get to see you in the hallways and we get to have conversations and kind of get to hang out, but you are that person when I see you in work mode, when you are headed to the ring, the second you walk out that curtain, I don't know that guy.
I think because I have an ability to prioritize what's important at the time. I think, to quote the great Biggie Smalls, what's beef? I understand what beef is. I understand how you handle beef. I don't carry that stress with me all day long, because, there's only certain moments in time when you can really deal with those situations. And I save all that animosity for those moments when I deal with them. And when I'm not in those moments, then, I like to exist in a more peaceful stance.
Fair enough. How much has wrestling changed in the years that you've been doing this, stylistically wise, specifically?
Stylistically, it's changed dramatically. From when I started, it was a very different, very U.S. dominant style, and now, through these 25 years, I've seen the influences of Japan and Mexico, and even the UK. There's very, very unique sensibility and style to what they do in the UK. Even that, kind of infiltrate, mix, and it has become kind of, the brand new style of modern day wrestling that we see today.
We have a lot of really great veterans here at AEW, you of course being one of them. What's a piece of advice that you have for some of our younger talent that are kind of getting their feet wet in this world?
I think a lot of young athletes like to put on the facade of knowing a lot more than they do. And I think it's one of the most damaging things they could do. I think.
So don't fake it till you make it.
Yeah, there's no need to. I think you'd rather acquire the knowledge and the skill to actually make it legitimately, and that's done through a little bit of humility, and not always maybe keeping your mouth shut and keeping your ears open more. You can learn a hell of a lot more than vice versa.
Amen. Well, Joe, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm not even going to say good luck at Dynasty.
Nah, it's not necessary.
No, it's not. It's not. Thank you.
Thank you.